Hey there, high performance golfers and serious golfers out there. This message is for you if you are one of those players who gets extremely nervous on the golf course. Whether it is nervous playing in tournaments, high school matches, tournaments, or rounds with your buddies where you got high stakes on the line. Maybe it could be mid-round when you're playing your best rounds of golf and all of a sudden you get nervous because you got to keep the ball in a tight fairway with OB on both sides, or houses on each end of the fairway and you don't want to hit a house. Maybe you just got to go over the water and you're going for a par 5 and 2, right? And you start to get nervous, and then it just starts to self-destruct and you find yourself never hitting the shots you want to hit, right? What got me thinking about this today is I just had a very powerful conversation with one of my students who came in and had this question, like, now that they're playing a lot more tournaments, a lot more high school matches this time of year, and they're investing in themselves, lots of time and practicing, right? Their expectations are going up because they want to perform better, but the more they practice, they are getting more nervous, right? Have you ever been that way where you start to practice and invest more in yourself and you start to get more nervous, right? It's like you create this expectation that you should be getting better, and now it's time to perform, and now you actually start to shoot higher scores because you had those few holes that are just blow up holes and you don't know why, and you practice more, which then puts more pressure, right? And so for today, I want to share with you 3 simple things you can do to be able to handle the nervousness and perform your best no matter how nervous you get, right? And so number 1, like, the most important thing to understand when you get nervous is to get super clear. Again, get super clear with the thing you are trying to do, right? What is happening when you get nervous? What is the outcome and the result that you want? So most of us, we get focused too much on, let me go cure the nervousness. Let me go do some, breathing exercises and, some breathing exercises and some meditation or some positive thinking. Those are really, really great things. But when it comes down to it is when you get clear on exactly the result that you're looking to get, a lot of times we're not even worrying about the nervousness at all, right? We focus on the wrong thing. We're focusing on trying to cure ourselves from being nervous, and we work on everything but the thing that we're actually trying to get, right? So the most common thing that happens, right, with one of the students that I was talking about with, they get nervous getting to the first tee, and like, how do I get over the first tee jitters? How do I perform well on the first tee and hit a really great shot? Like, I don't know how to stop myself from shaking, right? And the answer is, do you really want to stop yourself from shaking, or are you just trying to hit a ball that goes down the fairway? Are you just trying to get a ball that doesn't go out of bounds? Are you trying to get a ball on the face that you don't top? Whatever the thing that's happening, what is the result that you're doing? Because many times we focus on the nervousness and trying to cure the nervousness, hoping that if I cure the nervousness, that means I'll hit perfect shots. And the answer is not true, right? We're always looking to fix the thing that we want fixed. And if you're one of those that can't get off the tee box, like, you got to get so good at getting off the tee box and fix the problem of getting off the tee box. And you might be saying, well, it's just the first hole. It's just the first hole, and once I get off the first tee, everything is great. And I totally get it. I totally understand that. But the truth is, if the pattern shows you that every time on the first tee, or maybe the first 2 holes, that you can't get off the tee, that tells you you cannot get off the tee, and you have to address the issue of getting off the tee in any type of circumstances. Which brings us to my point number 2. My point number 2 is, you have to be so certain. When you practice for certainty, right? Oftentimes we practice for confidence, and if you're trying to practice for confidence, the moment anything challenges your confidence, we lose it in a second. We lose it in an instant. And if we're investing hours and hours and weeks and months and even years of our time to build confidence, for it only to be taken away with one shot, one thought, one instant, that math doesn't add up, right? It is not worth practicing for confidence. You need to start practicing for certainty. So now if you're one of those players that can't get off the tee box, you have to build so much certainty that even when you're nervous, that you still get it off the tee and you hit it good. Right? It changes the entire game of how you practice, or it changes your intention that you put in. Let me put it this way. Right, everybody watching this most of you can walk, right? All of us can walk comfortably. Right, and if you can walk, we've been walking our entire adult lives, our teenage lives, our adolescent lives, and whoever's watching this, if you're comfortable walking, we have this ability and certainty of walking. It doesn't matter how nervous we get, we still can walk. We could be pretty nervous, and we could be like walking, we could trip over a rock in the dark. We'll never question how to take a step, right? And so that is the certainty that we're looking for. Like, even though we trip, maybe it's dark, we trip on a rock, we don't question how to walk, we start to question what's in front of us, right? What is the problem? What is the thing that we're looking for? Get clear. Not how to walk, it's obstacles that are in the way. And so think about your golf game exactly like that. We are practicing to become so certain that even when I am nervous, I can still execute, and I can understand the patterns that are going to happen when I execute. So even if my ball tends to cut or fade more when I'm nervous, I can be so aggressive and so certain that this shot is going to come out, and you just go and hit it, right? Maybe it's going to be, I'm so certain that it's slightly thinner when I hit it when I'm nervous, and be so certain that's going to happen. But getting your ball and having it do, like when we want to play good golf, it's about controlling and predicting outcomes before they happen. And the closer they are to how we can predict it, the better we play, right? The only trouble that we have is when shots come out that aren't anticipated. They're the opposite of what we want, and therefore we call them challenges, right? So reviewing back, number one is get super clear on what is the result that you're trying to get. Right? A lot of times nervousness is the thing that's disguising as the problem, but the problem is, let's just get out and get clear on what the problem that we want to solve. Two is we need to build certainty around the challenge that the nervousness is exposing, right? Nervousness, all that is doing is exposing a challenge and a weakness, and we need to build certainty around it. Finally, number three is, as we have certainty, we still are going to get nervous. As we understand the result, we'll still get nervous. Number three is give yourself permission. Give yourself some grace to get nervous, right? Think of it, take it from this perspective, right? Nervous, it's a good thing. It shows you that you care, right? Could it make you perform a little worse? It could. Of course it could. But give yourself permission to be nervous. Then start to look at the problems that occur when you're nervous and start to treat the real problems. I'm going to tell you, nervousness is not the problem. Nervousness is the stuff on the surface that gets us to spend tons of time working on the wrong things that won't get us to deliver the results that we want. All right, and finally, like, one of the most important things is, again, give yourself some grace, give yourself some permission, and let it be okay to be nervous. Once you, like, we're oftentimes fighting this internal thing, like, I can't get nervous, I don't want to be nervous. Like, even though people say you can't be nervous, I don't like the feel of being nervous, and we're like clashing internally and trying to fight something that is gonna happen, right? So accept the fact that we'll get nervous, and build a certainty around controlling what can happen and what you can do as you get nervous. Build a certainty around the skill that gets affected when you get nervousness, and you expose the skill by getting clear on the result that you want to get. All right, so 3 simple steps to treating nervousness and performing at your highest is: 1, get super clear on the result that you want. 2 is, lost my train of thought there. 1 is get super clear on what it is that you want, on the result. 2 is build certainty in the area that gets exposed. And finally, 3 is give yourself permission to be nervous. It's okay to be nervous. The best golfers in the world, the best athletes, the best performers and leaders in the world get nervous, right? Don't try and not get nervous. Allow it to happen and allow it to work for you, and everything will be perfect, and you will get the golf game that you truly want.